Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Back. We've been talking with economist Michael Austin, with member of Project 21, and we want to talk this segment about Bud Light tanking. But before we bring Michael back, I want to look at this video, and it's Jennifer Say. She was set to be the next CEO at Levi Strauss, but then she was saying kids should go back to school during COVID, and she ended up losing her job. But she talks a lot about corporations and what's going on, and she talks about Bud Light here.
People are rejecting is not the idea of inclusion. They're rejecting an underlying ideology which states that men can be women and that there is no such thing as biology. These companies have taken these stances to curry favor with consumers, and what they've learned very quickly is there is a large portion of consumers that are saying, yeah, no, I don't believe in that. I'm going to take my business elsewhere. Unfortunately, I think for Bud Light, there is now no way out but through, because they could have apologized in the beginning to their loyal fans. They did not, and now they've just angered both sides, and their business continues to suffer. I think they're certainly scratching their heads about what to do, but honestly, for them at this point, I think there's no way out, but they have to wait it out. There's no way out but through. I think a lot of other companies are probably retrenching and going, okay, how do we just shoot straight up the middle, focus on product, unifying marketing, and just basics, business basics. That's my assumption is what they're doing, because they've seen what happens to those who do not.
So Michael, what are your thoughts as you listen to that?
Well, first off, I just think it's hilarious that Bud Light sales are dropping faster than a drunken frat boy at a at a keg party. Every week, it just seems to drop in double digits. I think Memorial Day, it lost its #1 status as #1 beer, Bud Light. I think maybe a week or two ago, I think it even dropped out of the top 10. I just find this hilarious. And I do, because it brings me back to basic economics. It's like, make your customers happy and you will make money. That's basically how our system works. And they have no other information to decide whether putting a guy who puts on dresses on a can is going to be a good idea. Anyone could have told you that. This is what happens when you get people who are completely siloed, either from academia or from the coastal elites, that have no idea what it really takes to run a business and make consumers happy. It's a shame, but this is capitalism. You got to learn.
What I find unbelievable, that there was educated people sitting in a room that discussed this marketing strategy, and did they really think that everybody as woke as them? I mean, it kind of boggles my mind that there's people sitting there, and I'm hoping other corporations got the memo too.
Yeah, I remember seeing a picture of the marketing team, and they were all holding a Bud Light, and it was the most cringe-looking thing I had ever seen. I looked at that picture and I said, none of these people drink Bud Light. They don't look like it at all. And you make a great point. How do these people not put two and two together? Well, I think you have to understand that you can be so educated that you get to a point where you don't realize, maybe I should test my idea to see whether it actually works. No, you're so smug, you think that any idea has to work because it came from your mind and your educational background. But that's just not how reality works. And yeah, now they're suffering for it.
Well, and my question too becomes, given our college campuses and what is being promoted and taught there, I think capitalism is a dirty word now on college campuses, and so the move towards more socialistic business practices probably isn't too scary for a lot of these corporations, these younger ones. And how big of a part do you think the ESG scores are playing in some of these corporations that are doing things like the Bud Light controversy?
Great question. I think it actually is playing a major part in their decisions. As an example, for Anheuser-Busch, I was looking it up when their sales numbers started to fall, and BlackRock had increased their holdings of Anheuser-Busch by like over 1,000%. BlackRock, of course, is an asset manager. It helps manage your, let's say, retirement funds, investment funds. It basically holds on to it, but BlackRock is taking that responsibility and going to businesses and saying, saying, hey, if you want these retirement dollars, these investment dollars, we need you to do X, Y, and Z. And guess what? Those particular points happen to be the most woke ideals we have ever seen. The Green New Deal, pushing transgenderism, pushing climate agenda. And that's what's going on with these businesses. So they're in a really tight spot where they think that they can get investment money by going woke, but at the same time, they're going to upset their customer base by doing these types of policies. And Bud Light just realized that the economics were simply not in their favor.
And Target has also suffered from this too. So they're walking a fine line. You know, the ones that thought big brownie points here, we're going to stick our neck out, we're going to go way out there, and it's like, you know, your head just got cut off, right? Stuck your neck out too far. And I'm just wondering, like, if you're a company like Bud Light, I've seen them giving you rebates, so it's cheaper than water now to buy a case of Bud Light, and I'm not exaggerating, and still people aren't buying it. Like, if you were hired to help Bud Light, what would you say? Is it too late for them? Is there no turning back?
I disagree. I think that if you have a focus that is tied to the customer, that is always your best bet. The reason they're in this situation is because they stopped listening to their customer and they started listening to BlackRock and these ESG agendas. If you think about it, if you make your customers happy, you grow profit. If you grow profit, you get more investment. So there really is no reason that they should be listening to these asset managers, because as long as they're making their customers happy, they'll grow their profit and their base, and they'll see all the investment money coming in anyway. So to answer your question, you know, if I was in Bud Light, I would apologize. Yeah, it may not be as effective as if I did it earlier, but it still is a step in the right direction. All these, you know, commercials and ad plays and rebates, you know, that's just insulting customers, making them think that they're fools. Treat your customers with respect and they'll return the favor. And that first starts with an apology.
Wow, is that ever?
You're so old school. Yeah, you're just old school.
You know, that's it. The big missing piece: no apology. A late apology is better than none at all. And you know what? Some business should listen to what you are saying, Michael, because I don't know who they're listening to, but they're just shooting themselves in the foot.
But I think the Bud Light, a lot of their Bud Light people are smart enough to realize if they're doing it with right motives or they're doing it just because they want you back and they really still don't care about you. I think they really going to have to examine their conscience on that if they do an apology.
Yeah, and admitting what you did wrong, like how this doesn't fit the agenda for everybody. I mean, Disney's filling it too. You know, they're promoting all this woke agendas, and this is supposed to be for, I mean, we think for children, and, you know, people are backing out of there too.
Well, a lot of children carry the bottom line for Bud Light too. I hate to say it, but I mean, you know, we have teenagers, and
But Disney, I don't know if you've paid attention to Disney, because I have somebody coming on. You know, the theme park is empty, the movies are tanking. They're not doing that well. I don't know if tanking is the right word. And then they're just doing more of what's not working. Are you seeing this with Disney and other companies? It's like, why aren't they getting the message?
I am. You know, I think the Disney box office, they're losing almost $1 billion. Almost every movie they put out is just an absolute flop. And before, they could take that because at least people were still coming to the parks. But ever since they picked a fight with Ron DeSantis over, you know, pushing sex education and LGBT stuff on minors, right? People are saying, you know what? I'm just going to go someplace else. So I hope they learn their lesson. But you know, the beauty of it is that capitalism is really in our favor. Either they will learn and adapt, or they will die, and we'll find somebody else.
Well, they're very slow learners, because they have a Snow White movie coming out. She's not white. She's, I think, I don't know what nationality she is. And the dwarfs are not dwarfs. And they're just a whole collection of oddballs. There is one dwarf, I guess. And then they also have a movie coming out that's got a satanic message in it, where she's like, this little girl is a product of a one-night stand with the devil and her mother. And it's like, this is a cartoon? Are you serious? I don't know if you've heard of it, but this is an upcoming, I don't know if it's a TV show or movie, one of the two.
BlackRock.
Yeah. So anyways, Michael, thank you for coming on and joining us and saying, you know, talking about what the rest of us are seeing, but some of the people are blind to it. So anyways, thanks for coming in.
Not a problem at all, ladies. I hope to be back soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
you
Yes,
will be. Yes,
that'd be great.
definitely.